it's Chari here today, and I'm going to be making this fun bee-themed card. So I'm going to use lots of alphabet stamps, but I'm also going to use the Tiny Gift Box bee add-on. So you can see I've gone ahead and cut out his face from that die set from some sunflower cardstock. I'm actually using one of the stripes that die set cuts for the side of the box to layer behind his face to fill in his eyes and his mouth with black. Then I'm going to layer on the bottom piece of his head, this little black piece on the bottom, and then I'm also going to layer on this top piece. I've also got his little antennas cut out there, and I will just put some glue on that wide piece at the bottom and then layer that on the back side. So I'm going to lay it down and pick it up with the front of my little bee, and I'm just going to clean off some of that glue. And I've got two little wings there, but I'm not going to glue those on just yet. I'll do that a little later. So I've cut a piece of mermaid cardstock with the largest of the outside in rectangles, and I'm going to do all my stamping on that, and I'm going to use all of these alphabet sets, and I'm going to stamp in mermaid for a tone-on-tone look. So if you want to make this card and you don't have all these alphabet sets, that's fine. You can still do it, just vary the sets that you have. If you only have two, just use both of them and change it up. Use capital letters and use lowercase letters. You can also find stamps that stamp out some of these words as well. So the idea behind this card is all the phrases like be kind, be happy, be positive, be brave. And instead of making all these cards that have those short, sweet little sayings on them, I thought I would make a card that encompassed all those sayings. So what I'm doing is I'm using my cute little bee as the bee part of all those sentiments, and then I'm going to make a background. So you can see I started with kind, and it's stamped with Quinn's ABCs. So I'm kind of starting with some of my larger alphabet sets. I stamped out be amazing. I'm using Owen's ABCs to stamp out the word brave. This one's going to be pretty bold because of those solid circles. So I'm kind of using the ones that stand out more first, and then I'll fill in with smaller alphabet sets. You can see I put the wings there just as a placeholder to see kind of how far up I needed to stamp the word brave so that it didn't get covered up by the wings. I'm using this Scripty Happy from the Happy 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 set just for another font that's not available in the alphabet set. So as you can see, if you can find these words in your stamp stash, you don't have to have alphabet sets to make this happen. Now I'm moving on to Riley's ABCs. I'm going to stamp out the word humble at the bottom. So you can see that I'm getting into some smaller fonts here. And I'm working my way out from that B in the center. I'm using Jessie's ABCs to stamp out the word generous at the top. This is Milo's, which is really skinny, these letters, so you can see I'm popping my head in there to try and line them up a lot better. And I'm stamping out the word positive. So I'm varying where I stamp them, making sure I don't line things up. I want the right justification of these words to not all be even. I want to give it some movement by stamping these in different places, turning them a different way. As you can see, I turn the word strong in a different direction than the word amazing. I'm going to stamp out that word good up in the corner where I can fit a really small word. This I'm using Smitty's to stamp out the word unique, and because I wanted it to start with a lowercase letter, I'm going to have to reuse that U. There's only one U in that set, so I'm stamping that out separately. And then I'm going to start filling in now that I've got all my words. So I pulled out all my sets that have bees to kind of go with my bee theme here. I'm not going to use all those bees. I just kind of wanted to show you which ones were available. I'm going to use the bee from Bugs and Kisses. You can see I stamped him there to kind of fill in some spaces. I really love this little bee from Be Mine. I think he might be my favorite lawnfawn bee. I'm going to go back to that one from Bugs and Kisses. And this is really just about filling in and making a background. So I also used the bee from Let's Play. And then now I'm going in with some hearts from those same sets. There's a little heart in the Be Mine set. There's a heart that's in the Bugs and Kisses set. There's a tiny solid heart in Be Mine. You can see that I've filled in some of those really small spaces with. And I'm just working around till I get the full look that I want for this background. I'm just going back and forth till I fill in the spaces that I want. And I'm not going all the way to the edges everywhere, but once I have that looking the way I want it, I'm going to add my wings to the back of my bee, and I've cut these from that pearlescent vellum so they've got a shimmery shine to them. And I'm just going to overlap them a little bit, and they're going to kind of stick up out of the top of the bee. And he's going to be in that void there in the middle. So I'm going to go ahead and put this background that I've created onto a rainforest card base. So it's going to have that thin, dark frame around it, which I think looks really nice. And then I've added some foam tape to the back of my bee just so he can be popped up from that background just slightly. And I'm going to put him in that void that I've created there in the middle of all the words, making sure he's centered up. And then I'll stick him down. And then I added some little rosy cheeks. Now there is a die that cuts out little rosy cheeks to go with the bee, but I liked the subtle of that pink pencil. And then I also had some of these little die cut hearts that I just kind of keep. You can see all those little hearts. When I have scraps, I just run the die with those tiny hearts through and use up the scraps and just keep these for embellishments on cards. So I'm just adding a couple of these around just to pull in some more color to the card and to fill in a little bit more and give it a little more interest. And then I also added some clear sequins for a little bit of shine too. And these clear ones work really well because they don't distract too much from the background, because really the background is the star of the show in this card, not the things in the forefront. You want to see all those positive messages that is created in that background. So my card is all finished here, and I just love the way it turned out. I love that background with all those fonts and all those positive messages, and I hope that this inspires you to maybe look at all those alphabet sets and create something new and different with them. Thanks so much for watching. Have an amazing day. Bye.